Spinosaurids. Welcome guys to my channel again, Walking with Dinosaurs, where today we're going to be talking about dinosaurs. So, going to be talking about Spinosaurids, one of the most famous group of dinosaurs, theropods, everything. We all love, I don't know a single person who doesn't love Spinosaurids and in general. So, what we can see of Spinosaurus is long snout, long arms with a recurved claw on their second finger, and well, they had 3 fingers, so it would be in this one. So I guess the first, but since they only have 3 because they lost this one, the first finger, and you know, some have longer legs, some have shorter legs, and long tails, 2 different types of tails, and usually tall neural spines. So we're gonna go right ahead with ranking Spinosaurids. BARYONYX. So we're starting strong right now. BARYONYX is the most complete Spinosaurid fossil that we have, which is insane because it is also the first fossil that we discovered from Spinosaurids. So BARYONYX is the OG, the one that started all. It's weird that the namesake of the whole group is not baryonic. It's just Baryonychids, but there is a subgroup of Baryonychines, which are closer to Baryonyx than Spinosaurs. So BARYONYX, we can see right away. You have the long snout, long skull, very, very slender, conical teeth. What does conical teeth mean? It means not crushing bone or tearing off flesh. It was mostly a piscivorous animal that did not shy away from eating other types of animals, like pterosaurs, in case of BARYONYX, ornithopods. I see you, BARYONYX. So right away, BARYONYX, the heavy claw. You have this insane looking claw, very long, and it honestly, it gave the leeway. Like every other Spinosaurid that we have, it is heavily based on BARYONYX. So aside from being iconic, one of the most popular Spinosaurids, I want to say, I don't want to go Esther right away because I know there are some insane Spinosaurs. I'm gonna go strong A. VALLIBONAVENATRIX. So this is one of those instances where Spinosaurs become what they are right now, which are very incomplete remains of a bunch of similar looking animals. Specifically with not only VALLIBONAVENATRIX, which is this one, but I'm honestly going to talk about, I want to touch on something, and it's this whole region of just VALLIBONAVENATRIX, Camaryllosaurus, RYOJEVENATOR, the last one that came out, Protathlitis, the champion guy, you know that one. So these were all Spinosaurids that were in the Iberian Peninsula. So we're Spain, Portugal, all those places. And what I find very fascinating is that these guys were roughly, like they were found almost in the same place, roughly at the same time. Which means there was, in this peninsula, this dry-ass peninsula with a bunch of lakes and stuff, there was a ton of different types of Spinosaurids coexisting together. You know, they were, I mean, for theropods, like they were on the not medium to big size for Spinosaurids. More on the smaller side, I want to say, for Spinosaurus specifically. But the fact that they were all living together, I don't know by how many millions of years, but roughly at the same time, it is insane that so many of these guys were like, you know, living amongst each other. and they probably had like insane display features that we obviously these guys are so fragmentary, but that we can not see from fossils. Like, but in person, like in real life, they would have been so colorful. Like that's what I believe to be them. But strictly, I chose VALLIBONAVENATRIX because it has an insane name. I'm gonna say C tier. I'm sorry, guys. Fossil record is not helping you. CERATOSUCHOPS. So this is a baryonyx from the same place actually, from Wessex, which is the Great Britain. So we have an English Spinosaurid, and yeah, this guy is fairly recent. And what I wanted to say about CERATOSUCHOPS is that from the scans that we made of the brain, it shows that as a member of baryonyx, these guys were not as I want to say specialized as Spinosaurids instead of baryonyx, since CERATOSUCHOPS is part of baryonyx, which is more closely related to baryonyx. These guys did not have as tall neural spines as like the thing I see first when I try to differentiate baryonyx and Spinosaurids. But these guys, in a way, like their sense of smell and like sight, were not insanely developed for an semi-aquatic lifestyle. So, as with baryonyx, these guys were more generalists, as I said with the previous one, is that it was more eating either fish, either dinosaurs, or even pterosaurs. So CERATOSUCHOPS is a good view, and like an interesting way of seeing how some Spinosaurids were more or less adapted to certain different niches, or I want to say environments, more like it. So CERATOSUCHOPS, interesting guy, but baryonyx is just the OG. So I'm gonna put you in B tier. SUCHOMIMUS. So when it comes to OG Spinosaurids, SUCHOMIMUS comes to mind. So I was gonna say Spinosaurus. SUCHOMIMUS is no slouch when it comes to tall neural spines. Not Spinosaurus level, as we'll see later, but this huge hump right here, those are some tall neural spines. Like, by the completeness of SUCHOMIMUS, another one of those that have really good remains in Spinosaurus standards is SUCHOMIMUS. So right away you can see the skull. You have the little crest right here. That's also very characteristic of Spinosaurids. And you have to see the jaw right there, right at the top, the tip of the snout. You can see the little kink right there. I want to say that is more adapted for a semi-aquatic lifestyle. So it's probably eating more of fish, any aquatic animals that it could find. That's going to help, as well as the more retracted nostrils, actually. So that when it's trying to hunt underwater, like on the shoreline, it doesn't have to, breathe the water. You have the huge characteristic large claw right here, Spinosaurid copyright right there. And one cool thing about Spinosaurids is that their 4 toes, usually theropods only like walk with their 3 other toes. Spinosaurus is one of those exceptions where, yeah, it walks with the 3 toes, but this one, the 4th one, also touches the floor a little bit, but it does. You have the long tail, but a more slim one, not as prominent as other Spinosaurids. But yeah, SUCHOMIMUS is from the El Ras formation, that is in Niger, Africa, and lived with big ass croc, Sarcosuchus, if you know. So It had a lot of competition. SUCHOMIMUS, oh, I already had it here. Sorry. SUCHOMIMUS is going to be an A tier, spoilers. IRRITATOR. So, IRRITATOR, the Spinosauridae that drove paleontologists insane with how irritated they were. No joke, this is why they named it IRRITATOR. So, IRRITATOR, apart from being a pain in the ass, was a Spinosaurid from not Europe, not Africa, but Brazil. So there's actually been a lot of controversy with the fossils of IRRITATOR because they were not very nicely taken from Brazil to Germany, but the actual research done on them was made in Germany. So IRRITATOR being a Spinosaur from Brazil, that's already something very interesting, because Spinosaurs are usually from Cretaceous, as I was saying, Africa and Europe. But it just goes to show that some fauna from those places were also present in South America. That's why they share a lot of similar animals, such as Carcharodontosaurids and Abelisaurids too. So, IRRITATOR, the most insane thing about this guy is that in the very recent studies, you might have heard them, but the way the jaw works is actually kind of insane. So when it opens its mouth, the jaws kind of open up to the sides. So when it opened its mouth, it would create this whole ass pouch, kind of like a pelican, and it just actually probably allowed it to just gorge some big some big chunks of, probably, I want to say, some big fish whole, because they probably could eat other dinosaurs. I don't know if it was an IRRITATOR or another Spinosaurid. I think it was IRRITATOR actually, that we found some gut contents for pterosaurs. So pterosaurs were not off the menu. And yeah, IRRITATOR basically is now portrayed as a big-ass pelican Spinosaurid, which is crazy. However, I want to put it in A so bad. I'm going to put it in A. Is my tier list. Fight me. ICHTHYOVENATOR. So, ICHTHYOVENATOR is first of all, an insane looking Spinosaurid, but first of all, not found in Africa or Europe, and not in South America either, but in Laos. So we're going to Asia, and that just goes to show that Spinosaurids in the time period that they were alive, they were very worldwide, very extensive territories for these guys, and ICHTHYOVENATOR is just another proof of the insane reach these guys had. So yeah, ICHTHYOVENATOR, more of a Spinosaurine. So we have the long, here's where we start to see the thick and tall tails with their tall spines. And I'm going to show you right here something. This is going to be very weird. But this is not an ICHTHYOVENATOR, no. This is Cynopliosaurus. Now you might be thinking, what is a Cynopliosaurus? You and I, buddy. So Cynopliosaurus is actually a Spinosaurid also from Asia, but it is only known from teeth, which is non-diagnostic. We cannot name dinosaurs or any type of animal from teeth only. That's just not possible. That's not how things work. But I'm gonna use this for a little demonstration, because it's actually kind of similar to it. When I saw this figure that I had, I'm like, yo, this kind of looks like an ICHTHYOVENATOR actually. So we have the paddle-like tail, very thick and tall. This is a Spinosaurine tail. These guys were more specialized for semi-aquatic endeavors. You have the elongated claw, and you see this little wave right here on the spines. ICHTHYOVENATOR had something similar, more prominent on ICHTHYOVENATOR than this guy, but you can see here it probably had like a sail going here, and it had a little dip, like where this dip is, and then went back up, and it ended with the tail, which is just why? This concavenator levels of weird on your neural spines. So ICHTHYOVENATOR was going kind of crazy with its sail, which, as every weird thing we find in dinosaurs, animals, anything, if it's weird and it doesn't have an explanation, what is it? What it's probably used for? Sexual display. So ICHTHYOVENATOR is crazy. I love it. S tier for ICHTHYOVENATOR. Fight me. Spinosaurus. I mean, this is the guy. This is the OG guy. Spinosaurus, at one time in contention for the biggest theropod. But as we know, theropods are not measured by, like, we don't measure how big a theropod is by their length, but by their weight, their mass. And don't get me wrong, Spinosaurus is a big boy, heavy as hell as well. But there are some other theropods which are much more massive in weight. But Spinosaurus doesn't need weight. When you have this build like right here, this is ideal. This is peak. This is peak right here. The ideal dinosaur body is this one. So, if you want to talk about Spinosaurines, you gotta talk about Spinosaurus. You have, what do we have? The kink in the end of the mouth, the end of the jaws. Specially made for catching fish. More specialized than ever. You have the little crest on top as well. There you go. Insanely huge arms with the big ass claw. I just love this guy. Look at those arms. This was used to just swipe fish right out of the water and just pin it down. You have one thing of Spinosaurids, which is short ass legs. Now you're like, what does it have such short legs? Well, if it's most likely standing all day in a heron-like position, like this, with its S-shaped neck, trying to catch fish as fast as possible, I don't think you need to run that fast. The fish will come to you. And obviously, the most prominent feature of Spinosaurus, that sail. That sail is so iconic. You could probably show this sail to anyone and you'll know what a Spinosaurus is. And this is a relatively new finding in the fossil record, but you have a paddle-shaped tail, probably used for, you guessed it, more like locomotion in the water. So what I want to say about Spinosaurus is that it has gone through a lot of revisions. It's gone from generic theropod with a sail to BARYONYX with a sail, to a knuckle-walking Spinosaurid that cannot support his own weight, to a tadpole tail heron predator. It has gone through a lot of things. I wouldn't be surprised if, I don't know, we had another revision of it, which is probably, it's actually happening right now, but I don't know how much is going to change. But Spinosaurus is going to be one of my favorite dinosaurs, one of your favorite dinosaurs too. I know Spinosaurus is one of your favorite dinosaurs. Do not fight me. You know it. Spinosaurus is obviously going to be an S tier. What else is this going to be? So, this concludes the Spinosaurid tier list. It's not a ton of Spinosaurids, honestly. I mean, there's a lot named, but to be a Spinosaurid, you just need like a couple fossils, and you already have a name and a genus, and you already have a subfamily and a subgroup. But no, Spinosaurids are great, interesting, awesome-looking animals. Let me know, what would you change? How would you do your tier list? What other Spinosaurus would you add to the tier list? I don't know if there's any more. I mean, I know there's more, but I don't know how much the tier list would change for me with other Spinosaurids. So let me know in the comments, which are your favorite Spinosaurids? comment, subscribe, like the video. It helps a lot to help me make these videos as well. And I really appreciate the support, guys. So thank you so much, guys. See you in the next one.